At some point, nobody warns you when, you're going to be sitting somewhere completely ordinary. A bus, a meeting room, your bathroom at 7 a.m. And this thought is going to crawl across your brain so quietly you almost miss it. What if I just didn't go back? Not to work, not to the group chat, not to the version of your life that somehow became the default without you ever really choosing it. What if something just reset? If you've ever binged Isekai anime, ReZero, Konosuba, Solo Leveling, Tensura, you know the fantasy I'm talking about. The truck, the portal, the sudden death that isn't really death. The moment your old life ends and something completely different begins. And here's what nobody says out loud. We don't love Isekai because we want superpowers. We love it because we are tired. And tired people dream about clean slates. Here's the thing about our generation that I think about more than I probably should. We were handed a script. Study, degree, job, work your way up, contribute, be reliable, don't make it weird. And most of us, we followed it. At least we tried. We showed up early. We stayed late. We absorbed the things that weren't our fault, and we called it professionalism. We were loyal. God, we were loyal. To companies that saw us as a cost center. To managers who confused our patience for weakness. To systems that were never actually designed to reward the people working hardest inside them. And at some point, usually around 2 or 3 years deeper than you intended to stay, you start doing this thing, this quiet mental accounting, where you add up everything you put in, and you look at what came back, and the numbers don't balance. And the worst part isn't the imbalance. The worst part is the moment you realize the person you trusted to see it doesn't, or won't, or is, quietly, benefiting from the fact that you stay. I'm not going to get specific. You don't need my specific. You have your own specific. The colleague who got pushed out for reasons that had nothing to do with their work. The boss whose noble talk doesn't quite match what you've started to notice when you pay closer attention. The realization that the loyalty you gave freely is being held over you now like it was a debt you owe. That's the moment. That's when the truck starts sounding like relief. Let's actually talk about what the Isekai fantasy is, because it's not about the magic system. It's not about leveling up faster than everyone else. It's about one thing: permission. Permission to be someone different than the person this life has decided you are. Every Isekai protagonist is the same character. Ordinary, invisible, going nowhere obvious, stuck in a life that doesn't match what they know. Quietly, privately, they're actually capable of. And then something breaks the loop, and suddenly, nobody knows their history. Nobody has a fixed idea of what they're worth. The old labels don't follow them through the portal. They just get to be whoever they actually are. That's not an escapist fantasy. That's a completely reasonable thing to want. Think about Sung Jin Woo from Solo Leveling, the weakest hunter in the world. Not because he lacked something, but because the system he was inside had no way of measuring what he actually had. The double dungeon didn't give him power. It gave him the environment where his real level could finally show. That's the truck. Not death. Not escape. A different environment. One that can actually hold what you're carrying. Here's the part nobody talks about, though. Most of us aren't stuck because we don't know what we want. We're stuck because we do. We know exactly what we're capable of. We know the version of ourselves that's been quietly waiting behind everything we've settled for. And that's actually the harder thing to carry. Ignorance would be easier. If you didn't know, really know, that there was more in you, you could just get on with things. But you do know. And so every day in the wrong place isn't just a bad day. It's a reminder. There's a specific kind of tired that comes from being loyal to something longer than it deserved. Not burned out, not broken, just quietly hollowed out by the gap between who you are at work and who you are at 2 a.m. when nobody's watching. That gap has a weight to it, and I think a lot of us have gotten so used to carrying it that we've stopped noticing how heavy it actually is. The truck fantasy makes sense now, right? It's not that you want to disappear, you just want to put the weight down. And you can't figure out how to do that without something dramatic happening first. I think this is the most honest thing I can say about where a lot of us are right now. We're not lost. We know where we want to go. We're just sitting at the base of the mountain waiting for permission that nobody is actually going to give us. The truck isn't coming, but we keep looking for it because it would make the decision for us. And making the decision ourselves is the scariest thing of all. Roguelites Games has figured out that real life hasn't quite managed to teach us. The run ending is not the punishment. The run ending is the mechanic. In Hades, every time Zagreus dies, he wakes up back in his father's house. Same start, same locked door ahead, but he's not the same. He knows something now he didn't before. A pattern, a weakness, a path he hadn't tried yet. And nobody in that game treats his death like a failure. They treat it like Tuesday, like of course you win again. What else were you going to do? I think about this a lot when I think about the years I've spent in places that couldn't see what I was. Those runs weren't wasted. I know things now about how rooms work, about who people really are when the pressure comes, about what I'm willing to accept and what I'm not, that I could only have learned by being inside those dungeons. The run didn't fail, the run just ended, and now I know more about what the next one needs to look like. The truck isn't coming, and honestly, you don't need it. What you need is something quieter and harder than a truck. You need to sit with the question that's been living in the back of your head for longer than you've admitted. Am I here because this is still worth it? Or am I here because leaving feels bigger than I know how to make it? Those are two completely different answers, and only one of them is actually true for you right now. You don't have to blow up your life. You don't need a portal or a power system or a dramatic exit. You just need to stop pretending the door isn't there, because the version of you that knows what they're actually capable of has been waiting long enough. That's all for this one. If something in here landed, you probably already know which part. Still figuring it out, still going. The Wandering NPC.